You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Welcome to BATV's coverage of the launch of F. Staple and Associates Limited, the local agents of the University of Leicester. I am Tanika Bennett and I'll be your host. Stay tuned for all the highlights.
It's the official launch of F. Staple and Associates Limited, who is, by the way, the official agent for the University of Leicester for not only Jamaica, but the Caribbean. You're in for a great evening, that much I can tell you. We would like to thank all the persons instrumental in making this event a success. This is an important moment in history. It is one that we will never see again, the launch of Miss Staple. Wouldn't you agree? One that we will never see again. And so we are here tonight to celebrate with you, Francine, as well as partake in fine wine and cheese. How can I forget? But I just want to say to our beloved friend, because we're all here celebrating with her as she embarks on this wonderful journey. Who you're seeing here is who is here to support you. And we thank God even for the strength and the mind to be here, our creator. EduCenters Francine is therefore proud to partner with you on this journey. Francine, F. Staples and Associates, I declare, they said speak it into being, will be a success. We are looking forward to greatness and a good partnership. They say teamwork make the dream work, but it's not just a phase, because teamwork does make, have you ever tried pushing anything by yourself and get a little help? No, the power that help does. Teamwork does make the dream work. And so together, I am confident that EduCenters and F. Staples will do great things. Francine, mutual respect and a shared interest is why EduCenters have chosen to partner with you. So on behalf of EduCenters, everybody, thank you for being here.
You know, someone might wonder, what is my association with Miss Staple? And I see also a fellow educator here. We have fond memories of Miss Staple growing up from a little girl into this phenomenal woman whom we celebrate with this afternoon. And I will not bore you with it, but just to say, I saw in Miss Staple that she's destined to be a great woman. I said it to her after she passed her common entrance in my class to go to Excelsior. And one day she came back and I said, Francine, you are destined to be a great woman. And she said, yes, sir. I said, yes, you are. I call it the extra sensory perception, the ESP, told me that. And I must tell you, this woman has never let us down. She goes leaps and bounds. And the thing I like about her, she maintains her humility. She's the same Francine. You know, many persons who, while Francine in her early days was struggling and would have given up, as some of us would say, we can't bother. Things are not good, not going our way, not go on for me. Francine was one of those who said, I can achieve, I must achieve, I will achieve. And she worked very, very hard. And we are very proud of you.
EduCenters Information Services has been around for almost 20 years. And we are not just a training and development company, but we believe passionately about transferring knowledge. So the partnership with Francine through F. Staple and Associate, her wanting to share her wealth of knowledge as a professional in the security field, as well as sharing quality service through the services her company provides, which are the different degrees and master's program. EduCenters found pleasure in partnering with her. We believe that together we can achieve more. We believe that together we can bring to corporate Jamaica as well as individual a more quality level of services through training and professional development. Anyone that places special attention on growth and development can develop themselves extraordinarily. I would advise anyone who thinks that there's a job or there is something out there that they can't do, just put your mind to it, put pen to paper and leap, because the summit of success, it is there for everyone to climb.
I met Francine Staple in 1999 when we were both at the port security. She came in as as the internal affairs manager while I was a young security officer. We both spent some time in the Corps, and then we both went to work on the Port of Kingston. When we started to work on the Port of Kingston, that's when I really started to see Francine evolving. She started to do the PSP program with the American Society for Industrial Security and encouraged me to do it as well. And then she went on to do her master's with the University of Leicester, and she's always been encouraging me to do that as well. But I've started to sign up with her this evening as well. But Francine has been one of those powerful, larger-than-life characters. She has really gone through a lot and overcome a lot. And to see where she is tonight, I'm extremely proud of her, and I've drawn some new energy and some good vibe from her going forward, and I can use some of that for my own personal development, of course. I think the business that she has chosen to venture in is excellent. It's right up Francine's alley. She has the years of experience, and one of the things she has been able to do over the years is that she has created very good networks. So she has stakeholders all over the place, and Francine has been able to garner a loyal fan base. She has all of these people, all of these places strategically placed. So I think she'll be extremely well. She will do extremely, extremely well.
And on that note, we take our first break, but don't go anywhere. Much more to come after this.
As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa la 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 la? 60 advertising spots, 10 for all spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you. BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357 or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung. Dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On point. Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Thanks for staying with us, and if you're just joining, we're here at the launch of F. Staple & Associates Limited. Now for more highlights.
I have had the honor of sharing Francine's journey for many years. First as her mentor, then as a friend and fellow professional, and now as a businesswoman in her own right. Let us give her a round of applause. I have watched Francine grow and progress with admiration as she has gone from strength to strength and risen to the pinnacle of her career, renewing and reinventing herself along the way and breaking all kinds of glass ceilings. As many of you know, the term glass ceiling is a metaphor used to represent an invisible barrier, typically put in place to keep out minorities, especially within an established hierarchy. The term was originally coined by feminists and came to be associated with women in their struggles to break barriers in male-dominated occupations and professions, as well as in corporate and organizational structures. Glass ceilings, however, do not only impact on the lines of gender. They also impact on the lines of race, class, and socioeconomic status, and impede the progress of men and women of all walks of life in their bid to progress and be fairly assessed and promoted on the basis of their merit. So I'm not hung up on just the gender aspect of it, where we're looking at it as something which is, against women. Men and women are involved in this whole issue. And this glass ceiling is kept intact by powerful interests who maintain the status quo and who must be hard-pressed to relinquish their control. Indeed, if we look at our own Jamaican experience, we will see that it was not so long ago when women were denied access to management and a range of other occupations, when people of color, be they black, Indian, or mixed race, could not work in certain institutions such as banks, and where even simple jobs could only be accessed by people from higher socioeconomic backgrounds, all through the old boy network and proverbial old school tie. At a conference some years ago, an erudite professor, quoting from one of his studies, said that men relinquished their power and allowed women into the bastions of power. In one of my more passionate moments, I stood up and challenged his assumption, asserting, "You never gave it to us, we took it." The room went silent, and I could feel the discomfort of some people who thought they might have a radical feminist in their midst. In my mind, however, I was just a proud Jamaican woman who never allowed barriers to impede me and would not entertain the idea of anyone in control of my destiny. Francine and I share this in common. And when she recently walked out of a high-profile, high-paying corporate position, she said to me, "I won't be pushed around and treated like an inferior in my profession and in my own country. I'm a proud Jamaican woman and I will stand up for my rights and my dignity." She was true to her words and astounded some of her business associates when she moved on and started anew. It came as no surprise to me, however. Today, although women can celebrate the fact that we have made strides in breaking some glass ceilings, there are still many barriers to break. And this is, again, I said, is not just women trying to break these barriers, it's men as well. I'm particularly concerned that with the influx of foreign investors, particularly in our hotel industry, Jamaicans must be careful not to be relegated to line and lower level positions, but must lobby and put ourselves forward to be considered for management and leadership positions. And we must never accept that some jobs are reserved only for foreigners. Certainly not when we possess the same or higher qualifications, proven experience and skills. So what can we learn from this journey of Francine in addressing the question, how do women and men break the glass ceiling? I have drawn from her experiences and that of other remarkable men and women who have shared their secrets of success, 10 essential factors, which include personal attributes and actions. Permit me just to share them with you quickly. Succinctly, they are: first, believe in yourself. Have a strong vision of who you are, what you want to do, and where you want to go. In other words, have a compelling vision and mission for your life. Secondly, seek out mentors and role models with the knowledge, skills, emotional intelligence, influence, and willingness to support, guide, and help you to grow and achieve your goals. Francine speaks a lot about her mentors, and she sought them out. And I'm so happy, Francine, that I was one of them. She's now mentoring me. Prepare yourself to go boldly where no one has gone before. Yes, it's Star Trekky. Study the terrain, the opportunities, threats, and trends. Then turn on the mindset of the pioneer. Call up the courage to go into uncharted waters. Map your path. Motivate yourself with positive visions and successful self-talk, because there will be a lot of negative talk, even sometimes from people around you. And you have to do your self-talk. Francine has always done that in her life. That's why she's a hard bud for dead. Nothing will keep her down. Her self-talk tells her, I will and I can. Draw on the strengths of people, individuals, as well as networks of people who will support you, help you and cheer you on in achieving your goals. You have to stay away from the doomsday people who will tell you every reason why you can't. Fourthly, qualify yourself. Seek out experiences that will help you to grow and attain the necessary credentials, certification, diplomas and degrees, and technical expertise. But having this is not enough. We have to know how to apply knowledge. And I tell people who have all the education but don't know how to apply it that they're dying by degrees. And I don't want anyone to do that. Being able to apply what we know is very important. Make sure you know your own worth and what you bring to the table. Take constant stock of your achievements and conduct your own SWOT analysis so you will be aware of your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats, and all the things that you have to know about yourself to make important changes and decisions. It was a great pleasure to be here this evening, particularly seeing Francine taking this step into entrepreneurship and starting her own business. I always felt that she would, because I know that she's very independent and that she has her own ideas, and she has been through the corporate world. She's taken some positives from it, and she has also rejected the things that she feels are things that create a glass ceiling over her and don't allow her to achieve the things that she wants to. And no doubt, with her business, she's going to also impact not only the students that will come through her programs from the University of Leicester, but the corporate world and all Jamaica, because that's Francine. Having myself been in business for the past 33 years, I know that it has its challenges. And of course, we have to look at the impact of a transitional economy, an economy which in Jamaica has gone through a lot of ups and downs. We saw the boom in the 80s. We saw the crash of the financial sector in the 90s. And those of us who have stayed the course have to have a resilience and a belief in ourselves and in our country. I believe that Jamaica is a country that is poised for greatness. We have wonderful people, there's tremendous energy. But I think we have to create more opportunities for business people. I don't think that we have a particularly friendly climate, especially for small and medium-sized enterprises. We need to get everyone on board. Government has been trying, but we need a banking system. I think we need to revive the credit unions, who played such an integral role in the development of Jamaica's finances and indeed the Caribbean. And I think we need to come together as entrepreneurs and support each other. We really need to do that. You know, when I look back on the 90s, the big companies were bailed out by, out of their problems. Little companies like mine, we did our own bailout, and we were very cautious in not borrowing and in making do and so on. But there needs to be a certain degree of boldness if you really want to grow. I think that after the 1990s, many businesses became overly cautious, particularly businesses run by women. We don't tend to take such big risks. But we also, I think, were a bit frightened by what happened with the high interest rates. And we need a system that is going to be a catalyst for the kind of growth that we can get through talented people like Francine. And I see so many young people coming up, and they just need that hand up, not a handout. And I think we need to create a system within the financial sector that's going to meet that. That's what's going to create the real wealth in Jamaica.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life surrounds art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
There's only one recommendation for funding that is ever going to come from me, and that is funding from a bank.
This is the cost to build, and it includes every nail and screw for the building.
Our motto is building communities, building a nation.
Get in the know with the world of real estate with Business Access TV's Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m.
Go for God Family Church.
Today's message is for those of you who thought that Jesus was finished.
Inspiring messages.
I'm here to tell you today that you are excellent. God is excellent.
Empowerment from biblical motivation.
To be glorified means to endow with authority. A woman is a powerful, creative being.
Join Pastor Christopher Morgan and the Go for God team as we go for God.
Thank you for being here this evening, sharing in my launch of my business. Of course, it was told to you that it's a limited liability company. I am the sole director, and my friend of 30 years, Mr. Christopher Honeywell, he is my company secretary. The history behind my company. I had a 10-year plan when I entered Kingston Container Terminals. I entered there in 2006. And I made a 10-year plan, and my 10-year plan was true to form. I stepped out of KCT in 2017 when someone thought that, you know, they wanted to push me around, but did not know that I was a, bud? A hard bud for dead, right? So, I thought when I was called into that meeting and told of my transfer, my lateral transfer to another position, I said to myself, you know, I said to my expatriate CEO that I will give him 20 minutes to look over his proposal and get back to him. I took less than 20 minutes to reach my home in New Kingston and had a glass of red wine with my friend from London. I thought that I would not take any disrespect from no one in my own country, as I knew that I was not allergic to mackerel or sardines. I realized there was a game being played by so-called powerful men, and I decided I did not wish to be around that game of dominoes. I went and applied my trade in education as I planned. Little did I know that it was another game of dominoes. I then decided it was time for me to play my own game. That game turns out to be solitaire. The mission of my business is to offer quality service through education, training, and development. And I stand here proudly as the Caribbean representative for the University of Leicester, of which I'm an alum, because I did my master's in security and risk management with them. And it was a part of my 10-year plan to one day represent them here in Jamaica. I sought to single-handedly approach the University of Leicester based on the quality of the product that they offered whilst I was doing my degree through distance learning. The other core function of my business is really training and development. Training and development is very important. Do not always rely on your employers to send you to training. You must invest in yourself and do your own training. And it is also important to make EduCenters one of your areas that you come to do your training and development, because it is a course that you're charting out for yourself, because the world is a global space and no one individual can fill that space. It is important to individuals and company owners that they have trained, well-trained and developed professionals within their midst. Training and development may not seem relevant today, but it will be relevant tomorrow. Don't delay what you need to do today by leaving it for tomorrow, or it never gets done. Never be a put-off Paul or Pauline. Tonight, I'm very heartened to see the amount of friends, some I'm seeing for the first time from Facebook land, and well-wishers here, as indeed my journey from then to now was a difficult one. Wealth Magazine encapsulated that very well. And up until today, I have so many friends that I have made because of that program. I have not seen them. They're from all over the world as far as Ghana. People who appear strong can equally be broken. The strength overpowers the latter, all the time through God's grace and mercy. I will tell you, when you come upon those negative persons, you don't usher them out, but you pray them out. Know when the Lord is preparing you for greatness. All the termites will be coming out of the woodwork. Some you will spray and they die. Some won't, so remember this. In order to be great, you must display strength. My dream is for every single individual to chart their paths. Dream, realize those dreams, and move forward to implement those dreams. That dream or those dreams will prepare you for greatness. I want to thank you all very much for coming here this evening, sharing in my next 10-year journey. I usually have 10-year plans, and I won't retire when I'm 60 or 65. I will retire in another 10 years. So I thank you very much again for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with me, and I appreciate and love you all. Thank you. I will be representing University of Leicester here, so persons can pursue higher degrees in their area of expertise, and also to ensure that persons are properly trained and developed to meet the changing world. As Caribbean people, I consider us one body of people that is looking towards one goal. We're in the CARICOM space, and I'm sure that as Caribbean people, we have similar or differing cultures, but we will remain one Caribbean. And of course, going into the Caribbean to spread the educational knowledge that University of Leicester has to offer, it is important that I not only represent Jamaica, but I'm also proud to represent our Caribbean people. I'm basically the liaison for University of Leicester here. We will also be hosting different sessions in research, writing research paper, writing your dissertations. We will also assist persons with classes in terms of proofreading your documents. How do you proofread? We'll offer services as assisting persons to guide their thesis, and what are the things that they need to expect is to have full support and quality service from my company. I have gone through University of Leicester doing their Masters of Science degree in Security and Risk Management, and I can tell you, class, quality not only education but quality service. I thought that my money spent there was money well spent. Their support base in terms of managing your educational opportunities, managing your papers, they were always there. Your email sent, you're responded to immediately. Their Blackboard, their remote access portals, I mean, they are really amazing. It's an amazing university, and I really wanted to represent them, and it was in my 10-year plan to represent the University of Leicester, and I'm very, very happy that I'm their representative here.
And that brings us to the end of BATV's coverage of F. Staple and Associates Limited. Until next time, I've been your host, Tanika Bennett, inviting you to stay tuned to Business Access TV, serious about business.
you're saying about the fastest man in the world, and you're watching Business Access.
Hey there, you're just in time for today's Youth Month edition of Jamaica Magazine. We have a packed program for you today, and trust me, you cannot afford to miss any of it. So put your foot up, relax, and enjoy the show. Coming up next, Stephen McHugh with the news.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Friday, November 16. The management of Flow Jamaica has agreed to seek an adjournment of its court action against the National Works Agency, NWA, and contractors working on government's road network legacy projects. The decision follows a meeting with Prime Minister Andrew Holness held on Thursday. That meeting included representatives of the NWA, China Harbour Engineering Company, CHEC, Attorney General Marlene Malahoo Fort, and other government officials. Flow's court action is on claims of disruption of its services to customers as a result of the ongoing works across Kingston and St. Andrew. Prime Minister Holness has instructed CHEC to send Flow a schedule indicating a notice period for excavation activities before any such work is done. Going forward, Mr. Holness is also mandating that regular meetings be held with all parties to ensure the major infrastructure development projects continue in a seamless fashion. Government will be assisting with the funeral expenses for the 3 John Rollins Success Primary School students who were killed in a motor vehicle crash on Tuesday. The crash happened along the Rose Hall Main Road in St. James, claiming the lives of 6-year-old Letitia Williams and sisters 8-year-old Tiara and 10-year-old Tiana Thompson. The driver of the vehicle in which they were traveling also died in the crash, while 2 other students of the school remain hospitalized. Education Minister Senator Roel Reid visited the school on Thursday, announcing that his and the Labor and Social Security ministries would be partnering to offer support. While addressing the post-cabinet media briefing earlier this week, Minister Reid expressed condolence on behalf of the government and appealed for discipline on the roads.
We have precious lives, our own lives and the lives of children and other persons that we are carrying. If we all be very disciplined, we organize ourselves properly so we don't have to be speeding, so we manage our time, so we start out early so we can get to our destinations on a timely basis. I think that will help. And we're going to appeal to the police to be out there as they have been doing. And again, condolences to the families, to the student body, and all the friends and relatives of the deceased.
Transport Minister Robert Montague says there will be no extension beyond the November 30 deadline to submit applications for road licenses under the Public Transport Liberalization Pilot. Minister Montague made this disclosure on Wednesday at the third in a series of public consultations on the 16-point transportation reform proposal.
We have opened up until the 30th of November. And we are saying if you know of persons, whether in your church, whether in your Kiwanis Club, whether in your Rotary Club, whether in the Citizens Association, who are operating illegally, now is the time to encourage them to apply for their license.
To date, the Transport Authority has received approximately 5,000 applications for road licenses. Minister Montague says each applicant must have a certified vehicle, insurance, and police record. Government has renovated another public beach to provide locals with access to a quality recreational facility. The licensed beach in eastern St. Thomas was officially reopened yesterday by Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett. The beach was rehabilitated at a cost of over $49 million by the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Licensed Beach is the 4th facility to be upgraded as part of government's plan to rehabilitate 10 such public facilities this year.
This investment is first for the residents who live here, the people of License and St. Thomas. And then, of course, it will serve all of us, not just in the parish.
The beach now comes with a variety of amenities, including 5 gazebos, a footbridge, sanitary conveniences, parking area, lifeguard stands, guardhouse, and seating areas. Cabinet has awarded 2 contracts to improve the operations of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. J.R. Wellington Import-Export Corporation is to supply and deliver 4 pumper trucks at a cost of $276.82 million Jamaican dollars. A second contract in the amount of $1.27 million has been awarded to Bell Safety Limited for the supply of firefighters' protective clothing and self-contained breathing apparatus.
And these include the following: 350 firefighters' protective clothing in the amount of US $833,037.33 and 99 self-contained breathing apparatus in the sum of US $437,165.78.
The Information Minister made the announcements during this week's post-cabinet media briefing at Jamaica House. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
We really want all of you to start thinking about how are you going to level up this November. And level up for us starts with self. So it's really a call to action for you to look at yourself and to see what can you do better, what more can you give, what more do you want to be. So we want all of you to use Youth Month to recommit, to do more, to do better, to go harder. But not just for self, but for communities. Because we believe that young people can change communities. But more than that, level up in your own lives so that we can level up Jamaica. Level, level, level up.
Youth, level up. That means you must never settle for mediocrity or give up on your goals. Endeavor to try new things, build on your skills and talents, and do your best always. Up next, a practical example. Here's the story of how one young man made the most of an opportunity, and now he's the better for it.
I was yearning for success so much that it brought me to the wrong road. I was actually incarcerated because of my actions, and that is where I got into sewing, because I had to do something to make up for the time and to keep myself active. So this program, I heard about it as soon as I was released in May 13th. So it was my ray of hope. This is my change. This is my way forward. So I come with all zeal and tenacity to go forward.
Cressy Ray is just one of the thousands of Jamaican young people whose lives are being transformed because of their engagement in the Prime Minister's Housing Opportunity, Production and Employment Hope program.
The HOPE program is about engaging with the youth of Jamaica in a meaningful way. To give them, so it is mainly a training and apprenticeship program, if I can summarize that in a nutshell. It involves engaging young persons through, firstly, values and attitudes, or what I call core skills training. Then it gets into a skills training, a very basic skills training, and then get them to serve as an apprentice for up to 1 year, honing the skills that they would have learned.
And that is exactly the course taken by the Hope Garment Construction Corps at the Heart Trust NTA Garmix Academy.
The first phase was 2 weeks of what is called core skills training. Basically life skills training, different areas where they were taught life coping skills, punctuality, how to dress for work, how to manage their emotions, things like that.
I deserve the best things that life has to offer.
They were taken into the machine operating training where the 100 were placed in 4 groups of 25 with 4 instructors learning to sew. The final phase will be going into production where they will actually start making the shirts for the other persons. And you will see from the display we have over here that they're actually making shirts now.
Yes, you heard right. These students are actually making shirts for the over 15,000 participants of the Hope program.
When we started the program, the intent was to have everybody be in receipt of a shirt, Oxford type shirt, that would be to help to promote the good working ethics, including their own dress and deportment. To purchase shirts outright and to have them branded, the cost was really far too prohibitive in order to kit out the vast numbers that we're hoping to reach on the program. Then there was a suggestion to speak to Hart Garments Academy, and I found out that they had this massive facility with over 100 machines, which were generally being underutilized at the time.
Now these young garment makers are learning much more than stitching shirts for fellow Hope participants.
I'm enjoying it right now because I can make my own shirt, skirt, and now I'm dropping to make my own dress.
It is very enlightening, astounding. I didn't know it was so meticulous to make even a simple dress. You know, we look at it as just 2 pieces of fabric, but when you get down to the nitty and gritty, it has so many different calculations, but it's something I love.
Because the clothes wasn't working out for me, I tried to do jewelry making. It's going great so far because I can make my own jewelry, I can produce it, I can have my own store and selling them.
The length is from the waist to the ground.
And none of this would be possible without the team of hard-working instructors on hand.
At first, I didn't know anything about sewing. Then, basically, getting the steps from our instructors, and they're teaching us step by step, so you get everything and understand. And at this stage where I'm at, I'm proud of myself, because if I didn't came here, I wouldn't know to do nothing at all.
The teachers, trust me, they work hard. It's not easy dealing with us as young adults, so they work hard. And what I love about them, it's not just about passing for them. It is about sitting down with the person, making sure they understand. So I give the teachers 2 thumbs up.
They help me a lot because I give them most of them problem. And there is not an instructor here who don't know me. Because I walk around and I ask questions, how to do my shirt, and they all helped me. It don't make no sense to stay home and sit down and I look for somebody to get something when you can come out, learn a skill, and can do something for yourself.
It doesn't matter what background you're from or where you're from. Just come with an open mind and willing to learn. And once you're willing, you'll go a long way because there's hope for you.
For more information on the Garment Construction Corps or the Hope program, call or visit a National Youth Service or Heart Trust NTA office. Toll free 1-888-432-7868 or email info@heart-nta.org.
and get in the race.
I can become the master of my destiny.
Step up your stride, make we work like a harder. Do it like Veronica, more than a supper.
We can rise above the challenges and shine.
Was with passion in your heart. Make a plan and stop all the idling. You think I saw we reach a the aging? I can, you can. Like our Olympians, every Jamaican can.
Sometimes all we need as human beings to achieve our maximum potential is a strong support system, such as parents who are willing to go the extra mile to seek avenues and opportunities for their children to succeed. Watch this.
Nearly 10 years ago, Aaron Nation was in a predicament. He had 3 daughters in school for whom he had big dreams, but very little means to make them a reality. As a security guard, he was earning a minimum wage, and his wife was unable to work due to an illness. Even sending his girls to school and providing for his family's basic needs was a challenge. What was he to do? The answer came from a colleague.
I was introduced by one of my co-workers one night while we was at work, and she was telling me how she benefit with her 3 children. So I found it interesting, so the very next day I went to the office and applied, and they gave me a form and complete the form and take it back to the office with information on it. And then after that, one of the social workers visited the house to confirm the information that was given on the paper. And then I was being informed that I was being enrolled on the program.
What Aaron's co-worker introduced him to was the Program of Advancement Through Health and Education, PATH. It's a cash transfer program funded by the Government of Jamaica and the World Bank. Since 2002, PATH has been offering assistance to thousands of parents like Aaron.
It helped my children them throughout school, especially the lunch program was good for me, because all I need to give them was $300 each day to pay their fare and $100 to buy a drinks, because they get a meal every day.
With the monthly stipend PATH offered, plus the meals provided under the school feeding program, Aaron was empowered to ensure his girls never missed a day of school. He was finally able to put them on track for the bright future he dreamed of.
Compliance in attending school is a requirement of the PATH program. So if you do not attend school every day, the benefits are cut. You can lose them if the children are not attending school. So I believe that that is one positive contribution that it has made, where besides giving the assistance, that it has said that there must be compliance in school attendance.
Aaron's eldest daughter, Nicole, is grateful for PATH's support. She credits it with putting her well on the path to fulfilling her dreams of being a medical doctor. She's now an intern at the Spanish Town Hospital.
I began the PATH program when I was at Montego Bay Community College. I was just starting college, and so my father received the monthly stipend to assist our household. The PATH program became a more fundamental part of my educational journey when during my last year of medical school, I received a grant of $100,000 to help finance my tuition.
Nicole's sister Marielle, who is now a trained teacher, also got help from PATH towards her tertiary education.
As soon as she was 18 years old, I went back to the office, complete the forms. They gave me a grant of $50,000, so I used it to help pay the school fee at Sam Sharp Teachers College. And then in the final year, I saw one day in the newspaper when it came out that final year student would be granted $100,000. So I have 2 children who was on their final year.
Now, only one of the nation's sisters remains on the program at the secondary level. Just like the nation's sisters, PATH has enabled many students to shine from the primary to tertiary levels.
PATH students have excelled. There's a youth ambassador program in the PATH program, and 16 persons were awarded at a function we had recently, the Mona Visitors Lodge. And in those 16 youth ambassadors, I mean, that's such a positive story. There was one medical doctor, there was an attorney, linguists, teachers, persons who have truly excelled and who can speak of the benefits of the PATH program.
Nicole was one of those bestowed the prestigious title of Youth Ambassador.
being a youth ambassador, it is a privilege, it is an honor. I view it as a critical role, especially in helping to move Jamaica forward. We're an inspiration, we're a motivation, we're there to drive students and say, hey, you can achieve not just a high school education, but also a tertiary education. We will be going to visit schools, we'll be on the devotionals, we'll be encouraging students, take the money, take the lunches, take whatever path provides for you and make it your own. Do your best in school, get an education, and the sky is the limit.
In addition to providing a monthly stipend, feeding young beneficiaries and providing school grants, PATH provides several other benefits for students and their parents.
We have the Steps to Work program, which is a program that allows the parents of the children to become gainfully engaged, whether in shops, setting up shops, rearing pigs, rearing chickens, so that they in time can come off. It's the graduation strategy to get people off of PATH, because of course you don't want people to remain on PATH for the rest of their lives.
Students also receive money for transportation to school, and those at the secondary level are able to sit 5 CSEC subjects free of cost, enabling them to meet the minimum qualifications for acceptance to university. And there are plans on the horizon for the monthly family stipend.
We have been looking at, and it's going to come through, increasing the benefits that we pay.
I would encourage any parents to try and don't let it go by, because it's a good program and it can really assist you through education. So if you're really serious about education, please stick to the thing, because it can work, because it works well for me. Not just well, but very, very well.
In addition to students, PATH beneficiaries include persons 60 years and over who don't receive a pension, persons with disabilities, pregnant and lactating women, and poor adults 18 to 59 years of age. If you need more information on the PATH program, contact the Ministry of Labour and Social Security at 922-9500-14 or visit their website mlss.gov.jm.
Our children are different. All of them require patience, love, understanding, right? And for us during Child Month, where the theme is Affirm Me, that's what we want to remind all adults, that every child is our child, and we must see how we can give them that love, that patience, that understanding, so that they can become their best self. It's now Parent Month, but a lot of the difficulty we have in the protection of our children goes back to parenting and the sort of relationships that parents and their children have, and whether our parents are taking their roles in relation to protecting their children, affirming their children, whether that is being taken seriously enough. So our Child Protection and Family Services Agency, working with the National Parenting Support Commission, is going to ramp up our communication strategies in relation to our parents to be more proactive in the protection of their children.
We are children and we have rights. We have a right to be
protected,
provided for,
and included.
Don't beat me up, don't belittle me, and please don't molest me.
I am under 13. I should not be working for a living.
That is child labor. It is illegal.
Stop leaving me alone. I am too young to provide for myself. I need your guidance.
Protect our nation's children. They have rights too. To learn more about children's rights, call or visit the offices of the Child Development Agency.
Boys are often depicted as rude, rough, and strong, while their female counterparts, the complete opposite. But steps are being taken right here in Jamaica to change that age-old cliché. Watch now as boys from the Independent City Primary School in Portmore are taught fine dining and social graces. The tables were meticulously set. And in no time, all was ready for the special occasion.
We're having a fine dining luncheon for our boys today, and different speakers will be coming in to address our boys as it relates to fine dining and changing the culture that now exists in our country. The little crudeness and so on, we're trying to ensure that our boys be nicer to our females, to their peers, and by extension, just embracing our country and the aesthetics that we have here.
The Boys' Day event, which was held in Portmore Heart Academy Auditorium, employed practical demonstrations and instructions to teach the boys proper dining skills and social graces. The first lesson of the day was to teach them how to properly use their napkins.
And you place it in your lap.
After the boys mastered this art, they learned how to properly eat their appetizers, which consisted of a warm bowl of soup and a side of roll.
You take your roll up and you break off a bite-sized piece. With one finger, one hand, that's what you eat. You put back the rest on your tray and you eat just what you break off. With me, you never bite the roll, okay? And you drink your soup from the side of your spoon.
And before long, these boys got the hang of it. Some were so good that they were correcting their peers. After a sumptuous appetizer, the boys were treated with a mouth-watering main course meal, and boy were they pleased.
You use your left hand with the fork and your right hand with the knife. The fork alone is to go to your mouth, the knife will not go to your mouth.
So what was the reason for hosting such an unforgettable event for the young men in training?
It's really about that as much as we spend time with the girls, we want to equally develop the boys, because research suggests that the boys move at a little slower pace at this age, so we want to ensure that we give them equal opportunity.
I hope that other schools will emulate, will copy, to ensure that our boys are exposed. We don't box them in at school every day, but we showcase them and let them realize that there are different places, and when you go to different places, you behave different ways.
And the effort and hard work of the school did not go unnoticed.
We feel like it's the best day, the best Boys' Day, because how they prepare it, how it looks, where it's held.
And just like that, we have arrived at the last page of today's magazine. But don't worry, you can turn the pages with us again tomorrow and every day after. While you wait, visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for our daily video uploads. You may also follow us on all our social media sites for the latest news and information. I'm Audrey Williams, reminding you to level up.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
On the next episode of Weekend Business Report, Brexit deal backlash. Theresa May struggles to keep her party together amidst growing discontent over the deal she struck with the EU. That plus company news, the top business stories, and the latest stock market numbers from around the world. That's Weekend Business Report with me, Keneal Gale, this Saturday and Sunday.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious
about business.
Serious about business.
Welcome to Business Access TV's coverage of the annual PSOJ JMMB Economic Forum, where we'll be hearing from top financial experts and successful business owners in their field, sharing their knowledge on how to maximize growth in Jamaica. Stay tuned. I'm your host, Amita Prasad-Webb.
In the face of the undeniably heroic efforts by successive government administrations over the past 10 years to restructure our macroeconomy and our legislative framework, why hasn't the private sector manifestly and obviously not become the real engine of growth that is required to catapult the country into the hyperspace of meaningful growth that we all so earnestly desire? Is it that we're risk averse? Is it that we are traditionally hidebound? I don't have all the answers, but I'd like us to start thinking in that direction, because what we know is that it cannot be business as usual. Secondly, where are the real growth sectors within Jamaica that we need to exploit in order to release the excess capital that is currently locked into our traditional investment vehicles, earning little or nothing and not contributing to the effective empowerment of the larger sector of our population, which has been marginalized into pursuing underground activities that yield very little taxes, generate very little social good, and feed the negative and oftentimes criminal tendencies of our under-equipped population. If we can keep these questions in mind while we absorb the information and reasoning that we'll be hearing this morning, perhaps we can travel a little further down the road towards unraveling the chains that still bind us, such as the low level of access to credit and financial intermediation. Less than 20% or 22% of Jamaicans have access to credit, just a little higher than Haiti. That is not a good situation, and we need to address our minds to breaking that chain. And also the burdensome bureaucracy and cumbersome tax structures that prohibit the entrepreneurial endeavors. And the belief that Jamaica has no indigenous factor resources that are worth investing in, that agriculture is too much of a risk because of bad weather. The belief and the unconscious prejudice against our music and our culture that compels the practitioners of these arts to take the products abroad or restrict the development of these products to the initiative of foreign entrepreneurs. And finally, the low level of interest in our exotic agricultural flavors and fragrances, our medicinal and herbal compounds, and the culture and history that is locked up in our city centers. We need to think on these things. It is my hope that today will generate not only thought, but action to change the direction of our aspirations and behaviors. On behalf of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, I welcome you to the annual Economic Forum and look forward to a robust and productive morning. Thank you.
It's a PSOJ in partnership with the JMMB for today's Economic Forum. Talk to us about your partnership.
Well, it's an excellent partnership. JMMB is a very creative, very flexible partner, and the PSOJ has benefited over the years with the association. They are a member of the PSOJ, so we welcome it. And this forum in particular is an exciting one for us because it signals a change in the paradigm of how we do business.
What would you say are the main objectives today?
Main objectives today are to speak to the whole question of Jamaica's economic resilience and independence. Now that we appear to be making progress in our debt reduction, we want to look at building a foundation that prevents us from going back into being a debt nation. So that one of the objectives of the forum today is to look at how do we promote local investment with the capital that is tied up in Jamaica, and how do we promote investment in non-traditional areas. So you'll hear the panelists speaking to that.
The Economic Forum is an annual event. Would you say it accomplishes its objectives each and every year? Is it really furthering the discussion?
Well, bear in mind that I have only been president for a year, but the reports I have been very good about the Economic Forum. And if this one is to judge by, you can see the attendance is very good, the level of participation is very good, and the excitement levels that are being generated are very high.
It is great that we are gathered here today to consider economic resilience. It means that we're concerned with the performance of the economy under a variety of circumstances. And it means that we want to ensure that under a multiplicity of possible outcomes, the Jamaican economy is likely to be such that our standards of living is maintained. I do believe, and you have heard me say before, that the primary mission of our time is to secure for Jamaica and to achieve for Jamaica economic independence, which is economic resilience under a variety of circumstances. Previous generations would have worked hard, and we benefit from their achievement of political independence, and it is our job to ensure that for this generation and for future generations, Jamaica has the means to secure for itself and for its people from our own resources under a variety of circumstances going forward. And as Minister of Finance, I am squarely focused on this objective. But it's not an easy mission. If it were an easy mission, it would have happened already. Jamaica is a small, open economy. Trade accounts for 80% of GDP. And as a result, the proverbial butterfly flapping its wings in Southeast Asia has a ripple effect on Jamaica. We have practical examples today of sanctions against Russia threatening operations of Windalco, which happens to be accounts for 25% of our bauxite and alumina earnings. We have seen where sanctions against Venezuela threaten us in the energy sector. And we have seen where commodity price movements on the account of wars and rumors of wars affect life here in Jamaica. So how do we build economic resilience in the face of this reality? How do we strive for and achieve economic independence? Well, one of the key distinctions, or the things that separate developing from developed countries, is the absence of strong institutions. And surely the way to build economic resilience and to achieve economic independence is to ensure that we have strong and durable, impervious institutions. And as Minister of Finance, that is exactly what I have set out to do, to catalyze the emergence of strong and independent institutions that can safeguard our economic future. For the majority of my lifetime, and Howard would like me to say for the majority of his as well, Jamaica has been in a program relationship with the IMF. Now, don't get me wrong, the IMF has always come to Jamaica's assistance in times of need, and for that we are grateful. But we cannot be proud of the fact that for the majority of our independent years, we have had to depend on the resources of the international community as represented by the IMF. And you know, the IMF doesn't emerge and we don't enter into a program relationship with the IMF when our roads are bad or when there is a problem in crime or when the pharmaceutical supplies at the hospital are in short supply. Each and every engagement we have had with the IMF over the last 55 years has come about when our reserves at the Bank of Jamaica have gone too low. And that is why reforms to strengthen our central bank are so important and are so key to the task of economic resilience and economic independence. Later this year, we'll be tabling legislation to clarify the monetary policy goals of the central bank to be focused on price stability, to improve the transparency around monetary policy decision making, and so that information will be available for businesses and for individuals as they make their own choices. The reforms will improve the accountability of the central bank, pivoting the accountability relationship away from the Minister of Finance exclusively and towards the people of Jamaica through the Parliament. It will improve the governance of the central bank and diffuse decision-making, and it will provide for the independence in monetary policy decision-making, as well as strengthening the balance sheet of the central bank to give it the capital base to ensure that the policies that are being pursued can be done so effectively. You see, a prerequisite of economic resilience is external sustainability. A prerequisite of economic independence is to have the assurance for all businesses and all individuals to have the assurance that Jamaica can meet its external obligations as those external obligations come due. And what are our external obligations? Well, external obligations are interest payments that you have to make overseas, whether you are a private company, an individual, or you're a government. It consists of foreign payables that have to be paid by the government and by the private sector, dividends, and other flows. And at any point in time, you can measure the liability space that we have by looking at the external obligations of the private sector and of the government. And economic resilience must rest on a foundation that external sustainability is assured. And that is the principal reason for embarking upon the modernization of the central bank that we are going to do starting in October.
We go to a break, but please stay with us. More after this.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa la 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 la? 60 advertising spots, 10 for all spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you, BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357 or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Let's go straight to stage to our presenter.
It's one thing to identify problems. It's a whole other thing to actually form the teams around resolving them and having the execution capability to get things done. And I think that there's some structures that have been set up here in Jamaica that are probably better than in many other places. But I would definitely look to see how you could enhance that so you could get more meaningful results in addressing some of these barriers. Because the future of your country is based on it. And no amount of directing people to invest in one industry or one opportunity or the other is going to make the difference. No big project, bring the Chinese and do this, bring people from other countries and do that, get the private sector to invest in agriculture. No amount of this directing is going to make the difference, like freeing up all of the actors to make smart investment decisions easily and understand the rules of the game and find human capital to support their investments. That's where the emphasis and focus really needs to be paid. I think that keeping pace with this rapid change is going to require a fresh approach and a different organizational model to the organizational models and approaches that we've had in the past. I think we have to have a fresh way of thinking of how we attract, motivate, unleash, and retain people in our organizations. There's a unparalleled change that's taking place in the world today, really driven by technology and technological advances that now allow for the speed of communication to be increased and for the processing speeds of computers to take on complex calculations. The cost of storage of data has come down considerably, and all of this is coming together to create this interesting opportunity where we are more interconnected in ways that we've never ever been and never dreamt of before. And there are industries that are emerging with Uber, Airbnb, Facebook, Google, Amazon, these wonderful companies that are doing things globally at a scale and at a pace that we've never seen before. Simultaneous with that, we see that there's a lot of impact that we people are having on the planet. And all of this is coming together in this, great age of acceleration in which, we have to figure out how we respond. In fact, this rate of change has probably gotten to be so fast that our ability to adapt as humans is being significantly challenged, and we can see it in some of the disconnects with Uber moving into countries and regulation, not being able to catch up and keep up with what they want to do. While all of this is taking place on a global scale, we see that here in the Caribbean, we are still, struggling with some of the basics around corruption, around economic growth, strangled by debt, not able to invest in some of the basic things that we need to invest in. And while Jamaica, I think, is a bright spot, having come through this last IMF program and implement with a lot of fiscal discipline, and its economic measures are trending in the right direction. What we think is that you're going to need a fresh approach to how businesses and people look to, I would say, not more than survive, look to be able to operate in this new emerging environment.
We take our final break, but don't go anywhere. We still have more when we return.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung. Dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
There's only one recommendation for funding that is ever going to come from me, and that is funding from a bank.
This is the cost to build, and it includes every nail and screw for the building.
Our motto is building communities, building a nation.
Get in the know with the world of real estate with Business Access TV's Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m.
Thanks for staying with us. If you are just tuning in, we're here at the annual PSOJ JMMB Economic Forum. Please stay tuned for more highlights.
To talk a little bit about the business environment. Whether we use doing business or the global economic competitiveness index, I mean, the trends are the same. And what we see there is that Jamaica is not doing that badly. I mean, Jamaica's on top of the Caribbean, fifth, in the Latin America region, first in the starting business, not first, but in the top 5 of starting a business, which is great. But then the question is, what does the business do after it has been registered? And this is where the rubber hits the road. And I said Jamaica is not that bad, in terms of the ranking, but when you look across the indicators, you see that there's huge variability, between the top 5 and going down to 130 among 190 economists on trading across borders. And there are, what we have been doing in other countries in Jamaica, the good thing again in Jamaica is, similar to the good setup of the Economic Growth Council, there is a Competitiveness Council, and they are working with our expert on business environment. They have already identified, what are the bottlenecks, what are the needs, what are the things that need to be done, and trust me, there are low-hanging fruits in revamping some regulations of permits, inspections, etc. There are also longer term or medium term, using all of the digital economy, the e-filing, and all sorts of digital platforms, which is longer term, requires investment. But there is a roadmap, And now, as Mr. Warner was saying, things are known, issues are identified in both disaster risk financing and mitigation and in improving the business environment. Now the thing is, execution and really make those things happen.
That is our biggest challenge. What we are now seeing, and I'm very happy that Dr. Clark is here because he has really been really promoting some of the key changes that need to be made on the technocratic front. This issue of the Bank of Jamaica's independence is absolutely critical. Why is it so critical? Between 1963 and 1993, 62% of the increase in money supply in Jamaica was attributable to the Bank of Jamaica lending money to the government of Jamaica. Lending money that it does not have because the Bank of Jamaica has no money. Right? The only money that exists in Jamaica is the money that we have in our private capacity. The reason the government has any money is because they take it from us in taxes. Right? So when the Bank of Jamaica lends money to the government, it's lending money that it has created out of thin air. That is inherently inflationary. And that is what dominated our economic instability from 1963 to 1993. After 1993, we started to have some controls on Bank of Jamaica credit to the public sector, but we didn't solve our fiscal problems because for the 2 years between from 1993 to 2013, that 20-year period, we borrowed excessively on international capital markets. Thus that by 2013, as again our keynote speaker pointed out, we had one of the highest debt to GDP levels in the region. So we have a couple of things that we have to accomplish. We need independence of the Bank of Jamaica so it never again reverts to what it does in 63 to 93. But we also need independence on the fiscal fronts to ensure that the government doesn't borrow excessively when it doesn't have access to Bank of Jamaica resources. Again, both of those are technocratic interventions so that at the Ministry of Finance you have a technocratic team that has the capacity to understand exactly how we need to function. But then you also need the partnerships and the social capital to put the government in a position where it is not excessively borrowing because it is managing its fiscal affairs, because there's so much accountability at the level of the broader society, and all of us are recognizing that the government has to be held accountable on that front. So it's not a conceptual challenge, colleagues, it's an execution and an implementation challenge.
Another year of partnership with the PSOJ as far as JMMB is concerned. And one of the things we like about being a part of the forum is that it supports a conversation. So what you have is a room filled with some of the brightest minds in Jamaica, top executives, top academics coming together to talk about what's best for the Jamaican economy. And so what we expect from today is no different from the years past. Obviously, things would have changed. We're going through a time of exchange rate devaluation of the Jamaican dollar, concerns about the exchange rate, concerns about inflation. Are we measuring the right things? And so we believe that what's going to happen here today is going to bring a lot of that out and really get into solution mode about what we need to do as a country to get us where we need to go.
Let's talk a little bit about JMMB. You're here today with in partnership with the PSOJ. What's next?
Well, for JMMB, we have always been an organization that has been a little bit different. As a financial services entity, we're not your typical bank or investment house. Based on the vision of our co-founders, we have always been about focusing on our clients and focusing on what's best for the community and for Jamaica. And that's what drives our decisions, it drives our strategy. And so that drove the decision to be a part of this partnership. So it's not just about, providing financial services for people and we collect a fee. Really, it is about supporting them in achieving their dreams and being a part of an ongoing process of solution development that will ultimately be to the benefit of Jamaica and everyone who lives here.
And that brings us to the end of our coverage of the annual PSOJ JMMB Economic Forum. I've been your host, Amita Prasad-Webb, and thank you for tuning in to Business Access TV, serious about business.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Hey guys, and welcome to Chill Spot, your favorite business and lifestyle show. Today we're going to be hanging out with Caroline Smith, marketing implementer for the Western Caribbean at Sol Petroleum. She's going to be taking us shopping at Fashion 911, and then it's off to be pampered at Adam and Eve. So don't go anywhere. Much more Chill Spot after this. Hi Caroline.
Hi Candy, welcome to Fashion 911.
Thank you very much. What are we looking for today?
Well, we're going to try on some fabulous outfits.
I'm
Getting ready for
excited
the
about
summer.
that, yes.
So looking forward to doing
I
that.
need some things that are nice and cool because it's just been so hot recently.
Oh my goodness, unbelievable.
So I see that you like to shop. Talk to us about why looking good is so important to you.
Well, image is everything. I mean, yes, we need our morals and we need to portray the right qualities, but people look at your outside and how you look. So I always encourage persons to try to have a clean, simple look, but make sure you portray your best.
And what about Fashion 911? Why do you like to shop here?
I like to shop here because it's a little hidden, so it's not always very crowded. It's just a good crowd. The people here are very courteous, very pleasant, and they're always willing to serve you with a smile. So that's the reason why I keep coming in. Of course, they have cute stuff, especially with the summer coming up. I think it'd be an ideal opportunity to get some stuff for happenings that are, you know, coming up soon.
For sure. And Caroline, describe your sense of style for us.
I would say very simple, very clean. I don't like a lot of clutter.
Right.
For an evening out, I tend to do more dresses, not so much jeans. So I would say minimalistic, clean, sophisticated.
What about your work style?
My work side is also very simple. I tend to do a lot of dresses as opposed to separates, because I find dresses to be very easy, so I tend to do a lot of tailored dresses and heels.
Well, I think I'm going to look for some things to wear to some events this summer, and I must mention that this outfit is actually from Fashion 911.
Oh, awesome.
So,
looking very good.
Thank you very much. So let's get to the shopping.
Certainly, I'm excited.
Yes. These are the pants I have on. As you can see, they fit very nicely.
I look like a Western. Yeah. Like I'm in a Western movie. Oh, Candy, I love this. They look cute on you.
Yes, I'll try this on for sure.
Definitely. look at these boots for
Oh,
carnival.
wow. These are, I could, and they're so light.
Exactly.
Lovely. Ooh. Well, this one looks good. Yeah, it fits?
Yep.
Coming up. What would you say is the most out of character thing you've ever done?
Well, for people who know me, a lot of people are actually surprised that I'm big into Formula One racing.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Go for God Family Church.
Today's message is for those of you who thought that Jesus was finished.
Inspiring messages.
I'm here to tell you today that you are excellent. God is excellent.
Empowerment from biblical motivation.
To be glorified means to endow with authority. A woman is a powerful, creative being.
Join Pastor Christopher Morgan and the Go for God team as we go for God.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
So Caroline, describe yourself on a personal level.
I would say I'm very motivated, very driven, and I have a fear of failure, so I overcompensate by just going out there and doing all that I need to do.
Okay, and what can you tell us about your childhood? How many siblings you have?
I grew up in Long Bay, Portland, and I have 2 younger sisters, and I have some additional siblings on my dad's side. I'm very close to my 2 sisters, who unfortunately live abroad, but we stay in touch with all the technology, Facebook, WhatsApp, you name it. My mother and my grandmother are my biggest motivators. Failure is not an option because really they really want me to strive to do my best and to give up my best. So that's a constant reminder to me that I need to keep pushing and work hard and just shoot for the stars.
Right. So a household with mainly women, how did that help to shape you?
All women. And the funny thing is we've all gotten to be very strong women, strong, driven women.
Right.
So that was definitely a great foundation for me. The beach is really a big draw. I remember as a child, I used to always, be swimming in the ocean, or hair would be bleached blonde from the sun and the salt, and we just really had an awesome time. I left Portland and went to St. Anne when I graduated high school, and of course, Titchfield High School was Is my alma mater.
Okay.
Yes, I did everything there as a prefect, farm captain, sports captain.
So you're one of those that was involved in everything.
I was in everything. And I think a lot of that foundation has really helped me to develop into the person that I am today.
Okay, and after Titchfield, what happened? What about college?
After Titchfield, I did a stint at Cornell University in New York, and I also did some studies at Brownstone Community College. At the time, hospitality management was my major.
What would you say is the most out-of-character thing you've ever done?
Well, for people who know me, a lot of people are actually surprised that I'm big into Formula One racing.
Formula One racing?
Formula One racing. I actually support the Ferrari team. Ferrari/Shell, and my driver is actually Vettel.
So he came second the other day?
He came second in the Canadian Grand Prix.
I know this not because I watched it, but my dad did.
That was a very exciting race, very exciting race.
All right, well, I had a lot of fun today trying on all of my clothes. How was it for you?
Me too. Thank you for the feedback. I think we got some great pieces.
Absolutely. Clothes, shoes, jewelry, everything is
handbag.
Here. Intimates, basics.
Good stuff. We're going to be fabulous for the summer.
Of course, but before we get there, we're going to head to Adam and Eve.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to getting pampered.
Let's go. So I'll see you at Adam and Eve shortly. Yes. Hi, Caroline.
Hi, Candy.
Good to see you again. So we're here at Adam and Eve.
I'm so excited.
Yes. How often do you like to come?
I like to come every other week at least.
And what do you do when you come here? Everything?
When I come, almost everything. Boy, I tell you, I like to get a facial. The facials here are just the best.
Yes.
They're professional. The technique is excellent. I like to get a manicure and pedicure as well, and I love to get my hair done. But today we're going to do the mani-pedi, a massage, and a facial.
And what are some of the benefits you'd say of promoting this sort of wellness within yourself?
Well, it's very important to de-stress because balance is important.
Of course.
And I work really hard, and the job can get to be a bit stressful at times, even though I enjoy it. So it's good to come and just get pampered and just enjoy.
Okay, well, you're really getting me in the mood having talked about it.
I'm looking forward to getting pampered today.
Welcome, ladies.
Andreen.
Hi.
Hi, Candice. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fabulous. You guys are looking forward to be pampered today?
Definitely.
Can't wait.
Tell us what we're going to be doing.
Massage, mani-pedi, facial.
Wow.
Excellent. And the whole 9 yards. There's something else in store, but I can't tell you. Definitely get the Jamaican experience today.
Okay.
Awesome.
So we're starting with the
manicure and pedicure today.
Okay, perfect.
All right, and then after we gradually just go into the rest of treatment. So, ladies, have a seat for me, please. Be with you shortly.
Thank you.
Hi. Hi, Uncle.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Hi.
This is Candy.
Hi, Candy. So, you'll be taking us up to do our mani-pedis?
Yes, we're going to be doing the Jamaican manicure pedicure, which is dubbed the Rock Steady.
All right.
Oh,
yes,
sounds good.
Jamaican today.
So now if I want to ask you a little about Adam and Eve, tell us about some of the services that you guys offer.
Well, we offer a number of different services. We have massages, facials, body scrubs, body wraps, tips and acrylic, barbering, you name it, we have it here.
I know she mentioned this Jamaican massage and Jamaican this and that. Can you tell me about that?
Yes, what we want to do for Caroline today is have her experience our Jamaican treatment. Our Jamaican treatment consists of the Jamaican massage, the Rocksteady manicure pedicure, the Patwa body scrub.
Oh wow!
Yes, and the Jamaican Island facial. I mean, the idea came, we were just sitting one day and we said to ourselves, you have Swedish massage, you have European facial, why not
do a Jamaican something?
Exactly,
right.
something that is authentic to Jamaica, uniquely Jamaican. And we said, okay, let's go with that. And we sat around and we planned, we thought about the names, and we got the names that I mentioned before, and we said, let's do this. We have our natural resources, we have our herbs, our spices, our Jamaican bamboo, and that makes it truly unique. And also the benefits that you get from using these herbs and spices are absolutely amazing.
Yes. I can imagine.
They're filled with antioxidants, I mean, they're anti-aging, you name it, a lot of beneficial factors that are associated with them.
So I should leave here about 10 years younger then.
Yeah, I want to leave here younger and stress-free. That's all I need.
And that's the idea. And we're looking forward to pampering you today, Caroline.
I'm looking forward to it.
So let's start our anti-aging process.
Yes.
Coming up.
Caroline, how would you describe yourself as a leader?
As a leader, I would say I can be a bit demanding, but then I don't demand any more of anyone than I demand of myself.
Right.
I'm a hard worker, so I expect persons to be hard workers as well.
Right.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
Weekend Business Report. Economic windfall.
Unsecured loans. Alleged corruption.
Follows the closure.
If they made this investment.
Brokers
strive to increase revenues.
These sought some answers. Financial meltdown. Here are the week's final. Here's Garth. News Roundup.
Camille, it's back to you.
That's Weekend Business Report with me, Camille Gale. Saturdays and Sundays.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357 or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Salt is a Bajan company, started 11 years ago, now in 23 countries. We started out in the Eastern Caribbean when we acquired the Shell assets. Over the years we have grown. Jamaica started as number 19 back in 2013. We are now 3 years old. We just celebrated that recently. We are pretty much the largest petroleum marketing company in the region. And one of the things that we have done is that we have basically tried to adopt all the best practices. We have basically employed all the best and the brightest persons in the region. In Jamaica, we have basically been mainly the distributors for the Shell lubricants, which we have basically been pushing pretty hard, and I think we have basically made some good inroads in the market thus far. In Jamaica, we have a very small team. We have a complement of 25 people. But our sales and marketing team is a smaller complement. We are very tight-knit. Caroline is what we call the great motivator for the team. She's a big team player, very reliable, very energetic, never stops. So we tend to use her as a vice master because she always rallies things for us, whether it even be staff engagement activities, we have the marketing activities. She normally spearheads those things for us. So for me personally, I rely on her for a lot of things. I know when I give her something to do, I don't have to worry about it. She is very instrumental in this organization, and sometimes when I don't see her for a long periods of time, I say, who's trying to take you away from me? And she's a nobody boss because, there's no way I'm going to leave you. So we have that type of connection. So I just think it's one of the best things that could ever happen to this organization that she's here, because there are a lot of things that I think that she's just right for. Caroline can be a hardball. We have had our fights in terms of, and I mean positive fights. If I say something that she doesn't agree, she'll tell me. She knows I'm very stubborn, but she knows how to basically bring me to a level to say, okay, boss, think about it this way. So, and she makes her points very, heard, and she give her point. She's not gonna just walk away. So if we agree to disagree, we agree to disagree. But she's gonna tell you that she doesn't agree, which is what I like. I like to be challenged, and she challenge you. I like the fact that she keeps me balanced, because you need that sometimes. Because a lot of things rest with you, and when you make the decisions, you have to take responsibility for it. So it is good that you can trust somebody to guide you sometimes, because sometimes I work with what her suggestions are, and it works on many occasions. So I have no problems.
Caroline, this mani-pedi is exquisite, and the ambience here at Adam and Eve, the staff, everybody is so friendly. I feel at ease. I could fall asleep.
But you understand why I come here, right?
I do. So I want to talk about your role as marketing implementer for the Western Caribbean at Sol Petroleum. How did you get started in this industry?
Well, it was purely by accident. I actually started in the hospitality industry in super clubs, and then when Mr. Issa, Joe Issa, acquired the Shell brands, I actually moved over and started a role there. So that's how I actually became affiliated to the Shell brand.
And what about your responsibilities? What does that entail?
As a marketing implementer, I pretty much do all the creatives, media management, conceptualize all the promotional planning, execution of the different activities, launches, and I support a number of markets as well outside of Jamaica.
Caroline, how would you describe yourself as a leader?
As a leader, I would say I can be a bit demanding, but then I don't demand any more of anyone than I demand of myself.
Right.
I'm a hard worker, so I expect persons to be hard workers as well. Right. I have a nurturing and caring side, of course, because you have to balance it. I'm very detail-oriented and very focused, and I have a lot of energy. So I'm always buzzing and, being the life of the office.
And how long have you been in this role?
In this specific role, 3 years, since the inception of Sol Jamaica, which was in June 2013.
Okay, now was it difficult to transition from hospitality into this industry?
It had some challenges because initially when I came out of hospitality, I was actually in HR, and we were affiliated with a lot of unions in that role, so it had its challenges. But as with anything else, you know, you work and you build relationships and you overcome. So that has actually made me stronger as an individual, I think.
Do you have any accomplishments that you can speak about over the years?
Yes, over the years I've gotten several accolades, Manager of the Year, Department of the Year.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you very much. Most recently, Jamaica has actually been awarded PR Store of the Year for Sol Jamaica, as well as Corporate Social Responsibility of the Year. So we actually get involved in a lot of projects.
Congratulations, that sounds amazing.
Thank you. We have a great team, and as they say, teamwork makes the dream work.
For sure.
So we achieve that through teamwork.
For sure. So do you have any other professional aspirations for the future?
Well, I certainly would like to continue to rise within the ranks at Sol Petroleum. Sol is a company I believe is going places. We're now represented in 23 Caribbean countries, including Jamaica. And it's a company that really believes in giving back to the community. It's a company that hires the best and the brightest. We actually invest a lot in our human resource. And I really feel proud to be a part of this company. So certainly I'd like to continue to grow within Sol and to continue to make an impact within the region.
How do you see yourself affecting change in your industry?
Well, I do believe that we ought to give back in some shape or form. And so I actually am involved with a number of private sector organizations in Jamaica, such, for example, AmCham, Jamaica Chamber of Commerce. I try to serve on the different committees and try to basically support the activities that these institutions try to bring about. So I believe that that is important.
And are you involved in any other professional or philanthropic activities?
Yes, I actually am a member of the Lions Club of New Kingston.
Oh, okay, lovely.
Yes. So we actually do a lot of projects. We have geriatric projects where we give back to the elderly and the shut-ins. We do a clinic in Standpipe, Ligani, where we offer medical services to the community for persons who otherwise would not be able to afford it. We get involved with the St. Joseph Health Fair in a partnership with Food for the Poor annually. We had that a couple of months ago, and we're able to benefit a lot of persons in and around the surrounding communities of St. Joseph's Hospital by basically helping to provide health care for them.
Oh, that's nice.
So we do try to do quite a bit.
Who or what would you say is your motivation?
I am intrinsically motivated for the most part. My mother is also another source of motivation for me. My mother has worked really hard to help me to become the person I am today, and I really want to let her down. So every time I think about quitting anything, I hear her voice, pushing me along. Caroline, you can't quit, and that actually motivates me and propels me to even achieve even further and higher than I even intended to go.
Do you have any words of advice for people who have to deal with demanding bosses or bosses who expect a lot?
Yes, don't think it as all negative, because I've had my share of demanding bosses, and for me it stretches me as an individual. It makes me more effective, makes me more efficient in conducting my role and responsibilities. So definitely don't think of it as a negative. It'll make you be a stronger person, a more professional person.
Right. Well, Caroline, thank you for an amazing day. It was our girls' day out, of course, shopping and then coming here to be pampered. It was amazing. So thank you very much.
It was, Candy, and it was great getting to know you. I always see you on TV, so it was great getting to know you, and I realized that you're a very down-to-earth person.
Oh,
so
thank you so much,
pleasure,
Caroline.
and I'm glad to be able to take you to my hideaway.
Lovely. Today I got to do two of my most favorite things with Caroline Smith, marketing implementer for the Western Caribbean at Sol Petroleum. As always, shopping was a treat, and I definitely enjoyed being pampered at Adam and Eve Day Spa. Until next Friday, I'm Candy for Chill Spot. Bye. Woo, what is that now? Woo. Wanna see this or something there? Scrub. You need to get this. You need to get this. Who excited like me? Who hand can soft like mine? Alright, I'm ready. This is for beach party? Okay.
It's cute, but I'm not sure what occasion it will be for.
Hold on, it's no drop off. Right? Hold on, let me get this back on there properly. Guys, don't film this first. After I said I don't want to try on anything tight, watch me trying on tight things.
Hi, I'm Richard Panduit, CEO for the Separate Group of Companies. You're watching Business Access TV. We're serious about business.
London, we have a deal, but just how much will it cost Theresa May? Weekend Business Report starts right now. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Kenil Gale. Thanks so much for joining us this week. After months of negotiating, it looks like we finally have a Brexit deal. However, not everyone in the UK is excited about what's in it. We'll tell you more about that in a bit, but right now here are some of the week's top stories from the BATV News Desk. Knowledge process outsourcing, that's one way Prime Minister Andrew Holness hopes to help provide more high-end jobs for Jamaicans in the business process outsourcing industry. Mr. Holness addressed stakeholders on Tuesday at the inauguration of KPMG's new nearshore shared services facility on Harbour Street in downtown Kingston. Jamila Maitland tells us more.
Jamaica's business process outsourcing sector is venturing into new territory. Audit, tax and advisory company KPMG is spearheading what's being called knowledge process outsourcing. In welcoming the new opportunities, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said the move by KPMG fits well into the government's plans.
The government of Jamaica stands in support of business process outsourcing, and we will make the necessary investments to ensure that there is the flow of human resources to support the continued development and expansion of that industry. And the second thing is that we recognize that the industry will evolve and it will change as technology evolves and change. And therefore, we are going to be investing in the higher order services to ensure that Jamaica continues to be an attractive destination for business process outsourcing services.
Managing partner at KPMG Jamaica, Tyrone Handa, says the KPMG Jamaica Extended Support Services, KJS, is expected to employ only 250 people initially at the Kingston location. However, he says the business will expand into Montego Bay soon.
The last demand forecast I saw showed a clear path to 250 new KPMG jobs created by this outsourcing initiative between August 2016 and July 2019. Thereafter, we project an investment in a new facility in Montego Bay to meet the projected staff count for KPMG JES of 425 by 2022. This will take KPMG's aggregate footprint in Jamaica to over 800 by 2022 across all lines of our business here: audit, tax, advisory, and now outsourcing.
And firm controller of KPMG LLP in the United States, Joseph Arena, explained that the KJS was a pilot test for nearshore services between the US and Jamaica. But he says the service proved to be a great investment, which he attributed to Jamaica's ease of doing business.
Working together with a Jamaican firm allowed the U.S. firm to expand our support model to include a nearshore center. That was our first goal. However, I found a unique cultural fit between both firms. I felt as if I was working with individuals who were part of the U.S. firm. We shared common beliefs, values, and objectives, not just in business, but in everyday life. There was a connection that broke down barriers of communication and gave the ability for all of us to trust one another and to do what was right for both organizations.
Telecommunications provider Flow has filed an injunction against the National Works Agency, NWA, China Harbour Engineering Company, CHEC, and the government of Jamaica in relation to roadworks being done to upgrade the 3 miles Hagley Park area in St. Andrew. In September, the company told BATV News that it has lost some $42 million in damages as a result of roadworks in the corporate area. The company said most of the sum incurred came from damaged cables due to the roadworks. Several Flow customers within the affected areas have been without internet service since the construction began. Members of Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriation Committee, PAAC, are foreseeing a clash between the planned development of the Vernon Field Aerotropolis and the recently privatized Norman Manley International Airport. PAAC member Philip Paulwell is arguing that Jamaica doesn't have the capacity to have both. Sashana Small has more.
The Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority appeared before Wednesday morning's PAAC sitting to discuss projects it oversees. The development of the Gansu Industrial Park in St. Elizabeth was met with much applause, but PAAC members were skeptical about the development of the Vernon Field Aerotropolis. PAAC member Philip Paulwell said the Vernon Field Aerotropolis will be doing the same thing that the now privatized Norman Manley International Airport is setting out to do.
It is my understanding that the operators, new operators, do envisage an airport that is much different from what we now have. An expanded runway, the fact that we now have the North-South Highway. We want to see millions of people using Norman Manley, but we also want to see cargo, because that's the only way Norman Manley is going to be viable.
Member Paulwell cautioned the government about the amount of money it's spending on this project, especially since the development of Norman Manley International Airport has so much potential.
Caution on the expenditures being made, because remember now, Norman Manley is also to facilitate the Port Royal project, because we want Port Royal to become eventually a home port for cruise shippers. And Norman Manley would be the place where people land to board their ships. So the potential there is vast, but we don't want it to be hampered by misfocus.
Additionally, Philip Paulwell raised concerns about the potential legal issues that the government may have to contend with from the Norman Manley International Airport investors.
I know that you might run up against some legal issues with the new owners if they believe that what they have purchased or bought into in any way will not materialize because of competing projects.
But Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Audley Swell, pointed out that a feasibility study was done before and there will be no clash.
So the feasibility study was done and it pointed out that there should not be any passenger operation at Vernon Field because it would affect the viability of passenger load at Norman Manley. And as a result, that was one of the terms of the agreement. So we don't foresee that there'll be any clash.
Moving on now, Theresa May is defiantly defending the draft Brexit deal, saying she will see it through. The British Prime Minister says she will deliver a Brexit for the British people to honour their vote in the referendum.
There are bad days, and then there are days like the Prime Minister had today. Cabinet resignations assaulted from all sides for her historic Brexit plan, so she summoned the press together to say,
serving in high office is an honour and privilege. It is also a heavy responsibility.
Yes, it sounded like she was about to quit, but far from it. For her, it's Brexit deal or bust.
I believe that this is a deal which does deliver that, which is in the national interest. And am I going to see this through? Yes.
Prime Minister, you've said that your deal is in the national interest, but your party is deeply divided on it, perhaps more divided than any of us have ever seen. Are you prepared to risk the breakup of your party?
Members of Parliament across my party will look at that deal, will recognise the importance of delivering on the vote of the British people.
Well, one member of her own government, quite an important one, the minister actually in charge of Brexit, looked at that deal last night and couldn't stomach it. He quit rather than turn up for work.
Well, I felt the proposed deal with the EU suffered two fatal flaws. The first one is the rather predatory terms being proposed by the EU, which I feel would threaten the integrity of the United Kingdom. And secondly, in relation to the so-called backstop, basically what that would do is indefinitely, if not permanently, lock us into a regime which I believe would be damaging to the economy but devastating for public trust in our democracy.
Now, the normal etiquette after a resignation is that Tories are nice to each other. Well, the old rules don't apply.
I'm not taking lessons on standing up for our United Kingdom from carpetbaggers. I'm not impressed by his latter-day commitment to the Union. I'm sure this is more about manoeuvring and leadership.
Morning, Minister. Are you going to resign?
This Brexiter, the Work and Pensions Secretary Esther McVey, was tipped to quit after she broke all the rules at Wednesday's Cabinet meeting by asking for a show of hands to show how many ministers hate the PM's Brexit plan. And quit she duly did, saying in her resignation letter that the deal you put before the Cabinet yesterday doesn't honour the result of the referendum. Indeed, it doesn't meet the tests you set from the outset of your premiership. She said, "I cannot defend this and I cannot vote for this deal." The PM, here driving to the Commons, also saw 5 other members from her more junior team quit.
The Prime Minister.
But when she spoke to MPs, she warned what the consequences would be of rejecting her plan, although not all MPs were even remotely scared.
We can choose to leave with no deal, we can risk no Brexit at all, or we can choose...
The government must now withdraw this half-baked deal, which is clear does not have the backing of the Cabinet, this Parliament, or the country as a whole.
Then, from her own side, one after another, Brexiters and Remainers lined up to savage her.
This backstop is completely intolerable, and I feel confident that even in the unlikely event that legislation for it reaches this House, it will be ferociously opposed.
The harsh, cruel truth of it is that this is not the promised deal.
These 585 pages are a testament to broken promises.
And furious DUP MPs from Northern Ireland seem close to terminating their alliance with the Tories that allows her to govern.
The choice is now clear. We stand up for the United Kingdom, the whole of the United Kingdom, the integrity of the United Kingdom, or we vote for a vassal state with the breakup of the United Kingdom.
So one of the Tory Brexit rebels, their leader in fact, said the time had come for the party to depose the Prime Minister, and he's written a letter withdrawing his confidence in her.
This is about not having confidence in the current leader and believing that the deal simply does not work.
Now, by tomorrow, enough Tory MPs, 48 or more, may well have written similar letters, and she'll have to win a vote of MPs to survive. This former minister could replace her.
If we don't deliver the Brexit that the British people voted for, then the British people will punish us. They'll probably punish the entire political class, but they'll particularly punish the government.
And as if the Prime Minister hasn't suffered enough, her Brexiter Agriculture Secretary, one of the original leaders of the Leave campaign, Michael Gove, is tonight agonising about whether also to quit. Robert Peston, News at 10.
Company News comes up next. Then later, cleaning up space. Scientists devise a plan to get rid of millions of pieces of space junk. That's in the final segment of the show. More WBR after this break.
Welcome to The Business Year. The Business Year is a global media group specialising in economic news and business intelligence. We bring our readers first-hand insights from over 35 countries. Each of our country-centred publications features over 150 face-to-face interviews with local leaders in business and policy. We are The Business Year.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to Weekend Business Report. Here's this week's company news.
The Jamaica Public Service JPS company says since the start of the year, they've invested some US $116 million in projects to advance the company's technology and equipment. The power company says the advancements will improve the system's reliability. JPS says their US $2.6 million voltage standardization project in St. Andrew and St. Anne has resulted in better power quality and reliability. Upon completion, the company says Ocho Rios and its environs will benefit from a more robust grid and improved power supply. Other investments include the US $21.6 million construction of an energy storage facility at Hunts Bay, St. Andrew, which when completed will act as a battery backup when fluctuations in power supply occur. Grace Kennedy is reporting over $73 billion in revenues for the third quarter. The company says it's also on a transformational journey aimed at improving performance and shareholder value. The company says it's also restructuring to meet the demands of the changing environment. This has resulted in some positions being rationalized, expanded, or new roles created. However, the costs of doing this has impacted the quarter's performance. In the meantime, the company says it expects construction of its new corporate headquarters in downtown Kingston to be completed at the end of the year, and plans are in place to have its staff relocated by the first quarter of 2019. The 9 months up to September 2018 haven't been so good for Dolphin Cove. The company saw drops in profits of almost 30%. Dolphin Cove says this was due to the negative impacts of the state of public emergency in St. James and changes in the Royal Caribbean itineraries. Meanwhile, during the period, their operations at Half Moon Hotel closed for the hotel's renovation. They also began operations at a facility at Puerto Rico, which they hope will help them rebound from the loss in revenues from Half Moon.
Let's now take a look at the closing numbers from the major stock markets around the world. When we come back, more of the week's top stories from the BATV News Desk, so stay with us.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show. And Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Welcome back to Weekend Business Report. More news now. A special parliamentary committee will be set up to address concerns being raised about the new Integrity Commission. Jamila Maitland has more.
If you are not the expression of our national concern, then whose responsibility is it to express national concern?
Dr. Peter Phillips has called for the special committee to be established as part of the Integrity Commission Act to find out why a permanent appointment wasn't made for someone to lead the country's Integrity Commission. The commission recently announced that Colonel Daniel Price was appointed as interim director to lead for a one-year period.
It is a concern that we have with how the new organization is getting up to speed in the face of the urgencies of the moment. And therefore I would recommend, Mr. Speaker, that this House cause the appropriate committee to meet and inquire of the chairman.
The opposition leader argued that while the commission is independent, the temporary appointment of many of its directors for long periods creates speculations. He said this is an issue the Prime Minister should address.
Having a slew of temporary or interim appointees in the face of this slew of allegations of possibly corrupt behavior in a welter of institutions which now fall directly to the Prime Minister's responsibility does not inspire confidence.
However, Prime Minister Holness pointed out that the commission is less than a year old and therefore must be given the chance to create its own governance structure.
I agree with the point that where there are offices that are established for the security of the tenure of the holder, that you should not have interim appointments lasting for any long period of time, and if they can be avoided, they should be avoided. But bear in mind the particulars of the circumstances. This is a new institution trying to establish itself. This House should give it support. I will agree with you that it has taken a little while. But bear in mind as well, Leader of the Opposition, it took us 2 governments and 2 terms to get to this point.
Agriculture Minister Audley Shaw says the government is working to have Money Musk Sugar Factory in Clarendon reopened. He says this involves enticing investors. Here's more.
The Agriculture Minister says the government has several investors who are interested in the Money Musk Sugar Factory. He says these investors are looking at ways to diversify the industry. Minister Shaw says this would be beneficial to the industry and ultimately the economy.
So I am giving you the commitment. I'm going to work hard to have Money Musk open because I see the practicality of it. I see the economics of it. Now, in doing that, one of the models, by the way, that I am not ruling out, because right now we have several serious investors, including one of them at the very top, who is very, very serious. And that investor wants Money Musk and the Frome.
He also shared that the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA, the Sugar Industry Authority and his ministry are in dialogue to find ways to introduce refined sugar on the market.
I can announce today that these 3 groups are currently in dialogue. We'll continue to work towards finalizing a mutually acceptable solution for the importation and regulation of refined sugar, and where there is illicit importation of sugar, we have to cut it out.
But he says in the meantime, his ministry is working on ways to save the ailing sugar industry.
Such as packaged sugar, as I mentioned before, increased supplies to CARICOM and other regional markets. Positive discussions are also underway with interested parties for Money Musk and Long Pond in the medium to long term. And I want to add here, not in my script, but I'm going to add it too, that we're not taking Frome out of those discussions.
As developers rise to Prime Minister Andrew Holness's charge of creating a Miami-like skyline in Kingston, Associate Professor of Urban and Regional Planning at the University of Technology, UTech, Dr. Carol Archer, is urging them not to lose the city's creativity in the process. More in this report.
Dr. Archer argues that the people who probably won't be able to afford the apartments in these high-rise buildings are at the heart of the city's creativity.
So when you look at communities such as Southside, and we talk about Kingston being the creative city, where I worked with my class, community development, and we took the students to Southside, and they were, just blown away by the resilience of the people.
So she wants the developers to consult with them.
So I want again to impress upon the decision makers and the technocrats to ensure that the voice and the vision of the people are included in the decision-making process. So when you have a Southside where the residents can be part of the creative arts industry, we are videotaping from all over the world. Are filmed there. Same with Trenchtown. Let us ensure that the activities, the decisions, the implementation of ideas take into consideration this Kingston creative cities, all the voices of the people.
When we come back, millions of pieces of space junk on the loose. We'll tell you what solutions some scientists are proposing. More on that after this break.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Welcome back to Weekend Business Report. A team of scientists in Australia are preparing to fire high-powered lasers into space to blast some of the 170 million pieces of man-made debris orbiting the Earth. Here's more.
We've been launching things and people into space since 1957. Satellites for your favourite programs, spacecraft to explore the unknown, people to take our first steps. And in the more than 60 years of space exploration, we've managed to leave behind around 170 million bits of junk.
To give you a sense of just how big the problem is, take a look at this graph from scientists at the University of Texas. These orange dots are functioning satellites orbiting the Earth every day. Everything else, this sea of pink, the blue, is debris. Junk, basically. Some of it's tiny, some of it's as big as a bus. All of it's hurtling around the Earth at speeds in excess of 27,000 kilometres an hour, crisscrossing at different orbits and on a potential collision course with the things and people that we want up there.
Scientists warn it has the potential to create a string of catastrophic, even unstoppable collisions that could render parts of space unusable. NASA scientist Donald Kessler first identified the scenario 30 years ago. Scientists have been trying to come up with ways to clean up after ourselves ever since.
Kessler predicted that when the population density of space debris reaches a certain point, it will start to collide with itself and start to multiply by itself. And we're seeing the beginnings of that. We're seeing an increase in the number of satellite collisions, so we're up to 3 or 4 a year now. The best minds on the planet in this domain think we have another 10 years. We could be very lucky and have 20 years or 25. We could be very unlucky and it could happen tomorrow.
Scientists are making progress with innovative ways to clear the clutter, but none of it's ready to launch just yet. That's where a new use of well-established laser technology comes in. A team in Australia, working with experts from around the world, is preparing to fire high-powered lasers to blast space debris away to a safer orbit.
Yes, it is rather cool using super high-powered lasers to gently nudge, and I emphasise gently nudge space debris from one orbit to another. We don't have the solution for space debris now, but we have the means to reduce the scale of the problem and defer the doomsday event so we get more time.
Space-based laser technology dates back to the 1970s and now has a myriad of applications that already make a real difference to us down here on Earth. But it's this latest use of laser ranging technology to clean up the cosmic junkyard around our planet that's capturing global attention. It's the biggest clean-up effort ever seen, in this corner of the universe at least. Miriam Nahond, Al Jazeera.
And that's our show for this week. On a programming note, we're off next week. So on behalf of the entire Weekend Business Report team, I'm Keneal. See you next time.
Visual arts are art forms such as drawing, painting, sculpture, and more. This week on Cameo, we take a glimpse at visual artists.
To free your mind, body, and your soul.
Fresh off her art exhibition Liberated, new artist Carrie Miller opens up about her new journey.
I am Carrie Miller. I'm a newly launched artist that have created over 20 pieces of prolific art expressions. My medium of choice is pencil and charcoal, as I believe they show exactly what I want to portray in every single piece that I do. I love the black effect because it speaks true to me, true to myself, as it is very deliberate and it is very precise. I can go really soft and subtle, or I can go really bold and intense. First, I should tell you that I have been drawing all my life, from I was born. And when I started my career as an executive assistant, I abandoned my art for a while, actually for about almost 10 years now. I was recently inspired and my whole passion for art got reignited. And so over about 3 or 4 months, everything that was suppressed for a while just poured out of me. All of these pieces that you're looking at are from experiences. They're from deep down in my heart. They mean everything to me. They're not just drawings, but they're prolific expressions. I can tell you that, for example, I Want You. I Want You means a lot to me. Very sensual, it's very sexy. It shows the body of a man and a woman, and the human form is one of my favorite images to draw because it just shows exactly how the body can appeal to the eye, basically. I might be somewhere that Basically, I'm inspired by the uniqueness of something. I might see a photograph somewhere, or I might see kids playing somewhere. And in my head, it takes me back to where I'm from. And then for me to really put it on paper is really for me to take what I've just seen and combine it with my experiences to create an expression of myself. I think black and white is so beautiful, black being my favorite color. And how the two comes together, the light and the dark, to create something so unique. You know, it's not a painting, but it allows people to really look deep within it and to really say, wow. You know, it's not a painting, but it has the same appeal. I think that is very creative, and I think it appeals to people, not just the black and white, but the images that are portrayed. It's a challenge to price art, first and foremost. For any artist, I think when they put something on paper or canvas, it's because it means something to them. And that doesn't necessarily translate to the same image meaning something to somebody else, right? So firstly, I really look at how much this piece means to me. Then I look at the amount of work I put in it, right? And then, you know, it can be very detailed, or it can be a huge piece that really doesn't require that much detail. And so, I mean, to price it, it really comes from all of that. And plus, you don't really want to come off being too expensive. You know, you want to price your work reasonably enough so that people can appreciate it but still can afford to buy it. The first challenge so far is being a new person on the scene, a new artist on the scene. It's really getting people to pay attention, really getting people to spend the time to come to your shows, to be inspired by the work that you put out. That is the very, very first challenge. Second challenge I've had is really getting the art supplies. It is challenging getting it here locally, and so all of my charcoal and all the pieces that I use, really, I have to source them overseas. So if they were available locally, then it would really help me out a lot in terms of pricing and everything. Third challenge is really the inspiration. You know, the time and the inspiration, because this is not, you know, my only job. I have another job, and really to find the time, because art is something that you have to spend time to really think about it and to be inspired enough to do it. So time is just one of the other challenges that I have.
Welcome to Liberated by yours truly, Kerry Miller.
Being liberated, I mean, that's my tagline, and I'll always use it because I have suppressed this for a long time. So just the fact of sharing this with the world is a huge, huge accomplishment for me. People purchasing my work and asking me to be involved in other art shows, that's another huge accomplishment. You know, from not sharing to people actually asking you to be a part of the show, that is another huge deal for me. Self-empowerment. You know, I'm a woman, and female artists, I believe, don't get that much recognition. They don't get the recognition they deserve. And not just in terms of my art, but just the fact that I decided to carry out my lifelong dream. I would love to empower other women to never ever give up, never ever settle, but to always aim for the stars and do the best that they can in everything that they do. I want my pieces to be displayed, you know, in the art world, for people to really see the value and to really to appreciate it. It would really mean a lot to me. And that is really where I'm headed right now, to get my pieces globally.
we are serious about the business of real estate. So catch Home Sweet Home Sundays at 4:30 p.m. or if you missed it, check our website at batvja.com.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
The creative process is one of those things that I don't even think about much. You know, it's like breathing. You know, you don't think about breathing. It's one of those things that you get up and you just have to partake in. I have my studio next to my bedroom, so everything is just one. Most of my time is spent in the studio. I'm influenced by basically everything, mostly social issues. Being a male, you know, in Jamaica, after being introduced and explore other areas of the world, you know, you want to sort of create a legacy in the area that you're from. So you sort of, you know, you develop ideas, imagery along that line, you know, images that associate with you, you know, opposed to pulling something from another culture and highlighting that specific, but rather pulling something from another culture and putting your intake into it.
Edna Manley graduate Kimani Beckford talks to us about his creative process and challenges.
Well, the piece behind me is from a series, you know, titled, you know, BIB, which means Black is Beautiful. In that time period, I was working on a series of portraits where I was looking at, you know, the idea of, you know, my peers, somebody that I see myself in. All these images are a person that I know personally, whether it's a family member or a close friend, you know, and I see them as self-portrait. I can relate to them, you know, being considered as a black person and being considered as a black person, you know, and then going through institutions and meeting persons, you know, where, you know, there's stigma about anything black is not good. So being a person who is associated with black and identify as black, then you know, I'm questioning, why isn't black beautiful? You know, why isn't black good? Then that means I'm not good. Looking into other cultures where there are iconic images, and then I don't see myself in those iconic posture, iconic places. Then as an artist, you know, being able to make my voice, you know, being introduced to the art history, I want to sort of create and leave a legacy by, you know, putting these black images and, you know, black in a literal sense. This piece is another one from that series, the BIB portraits. And what is most for me interesting about this piece is that this piece was one of those pieces that affect persons more. This piece was in the Brazil Biennial. It got some sort of critical review, which kind of make me smile, because doing this piece I never knew that it would create so much dimension in terms of dialogue. You know, when I sent off this piece to Brazil for the Biennial, being from Jamaica, sending a piece representing the country, but it sort of create a more critical dialogue where I had, you know, institution writing about it. It's very, you know, somewhat successful, you know, after being in the studio, you know, producing and knowing that, you know, the work doesn't only stands in Jamaica, but it goes on the international scene and, you know, getting some international reviews. So I was very happy about this piece. Persons ask me every day, you know, what do you do? And I say, basically my life surrounds art. You know, I breathe, I eat arts. As I said before, my studio is next to my bedroom. It's not only what you do in the studio, but you know what you do outside the studio, you know, is a way how you present yourself, you know. And there's this cliche way of, you know, art is supposed to be raggedy, you know, wear dirty clothes, wear tear up clothes, but it's a way of seeing things differently, you know. I might pass a building and I don't just see it as a building, I see it as a cultural asset. And in Jamaica, there's not much really to pull from, you know, in terms of culture. So I want to be the person who had to that cultural legacy of the country. In Jamaica, you know, we don't expose or have the high appreciation for art as we should. It would be good if there were more grants, you know, and more respect for the arts, you know, more involvement. The challenges I face are, you know, material. You know, we're in Jamaica, which is just a small area, you know, we're kind of limited to a lot of materials which are on the, you know, larger scales. You know, there are some stuff that I would want to ship in the country to engage, you know, my practice more, but it's kind of limited. So, you know, those are some of the challenges. You know, financial challenges, which kind of surrounds most principles and career, you know, material, gallery spaces, because most of artists nowadays, you know, they're producing, but there isn't enough space to display the creative, the end product. So, you know, it would be good to have more gallery spaces, you know, and more involvement, you know, the corporate involvement into the art. First, there need to be somewhat more involvement into the culture. You know, there's limited access where persons appreciate culture. First, we have to kind of sort of, you know, understand the importance of culture. And in that way, persons will engage in art on a different level where it's not even so much about a gallery space, because we don't necessarily need a gallery space to display the art, because that's just one principle. You know, you have the drama, you have the visual arts, you have the dance, you know, you have other principles. Calling out to the persons that are, you know, somewhat more financially stable to just, you know, give in to the creative process, give us a space, you know, not necessarily a four-corner box space. But if you go around Jamaica, you know, there isn't much sculpture, you know what I mean, and you know we need some more of these involvement to kind of, you know, brings up the culture. We need to start restore the buildings. You know, if you go to Spanish Town is just a fantastic area. You know, restore that. Restore that. You know, you have Port Royal. Restore that, so we can get more of our culture, you know, on the mainstream. I don't focus much on the financial side in terms of the outcome of the art. I am more into the creative process. So this is where I leave, you know, most of the business aspect to, like, the galleries and stuff. But to answer the question directly, you know, it is a lucrative business, you know, and it's not as much as how it should be, but it is, and it's a very tricky question, you know what I mean, because, you know, art has always been seen as, you know, you don't make money off art, you know, you go to art school, you come out, most persons divert into different aspects, different careers, and then, you know, there's just like 1 out of 5 persons who is really involved in practicing art. But yes, art is a lucrative, you know, you can make money off art. What can be done to improve, you know, and expand is creating an institution or a space where all the arts can, you know, overlap in each other. I mean, you have the Enamel College where you have, you know, more than one disciplines, but they're still separated, you know, in my views, you know. But outside of that, if you can have like festivals where, you know, all the arts can combine, you can have the writer, dialoguing with the painter with the drama. So creating a sort of, like a group where everybody, can relate to each other. I think that can expand and improve. In the future, I hope to have a bigger studio so I can, engage myself more, because I think that I'm limited to the space that I'm in, and hopefully I will be able to, overthrow that barriers that, because there's a lot of equipment and material that I want to get into the country, so I can expand more, and I can be at the same pace, with the other artists that are engaging themselves more on the other side of the world, because there's no limitation to materials, So hopefully I'll be able to import more stuff in the country, or I'll be able to go out of the country.
Go for God Family Church.
Today's message is for those of you who thought that Jesus was finished.
Inspiring messages.
I'm here to tell you today that you are excellent. God is excellent.
Empowerment from biblical motivation.
To be glorified means to endow with authority. A woman is a powerful, creative being.
Join Pastor Christopher Morgan and the Go for God team as we go for God.
There's only one recommendation for funding that is ever going to come from me, and that is funding from a bank.
This is the cost to build, and it includes every nail and screw for the building.
Our motto is building communities, building a nation.
Get in the know with the world of real estate with Business Access TV's Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m.
The style of art that I create is a mix of realism, and it becomes sometimes abstracted as well. So most of the works I do are paintings. I work mainly in the medium of oils. So I work a lot with oils on canvas. I also do drawings in charcoal and paper. And my most recent works, I am exploring sculptures using mixed media materials to create these pieces.
We caught up with fine artist and educator Alicia Brown on set of her first solo exhibit at Studio 174.
The piece that is displayed here is a part of a series that is currently in a solo show that I'm having here at Studio 174. So the title of the show is Copy and Placed. It focuses on issues of cultural identity, how we form this identity, the different things that impact on getting to the point of trying to understand yourself, trying to place yourself, especially in a Caribbean setting where, for the most part, we feel displaced. So what I'm doing is referencing history. I'm referencing not just the cultural history of Jamaica, but I'm also referencing the history of art, because as an artist, I'm trying to place myself in that space as well. So some of the pieces are influenced by the culture of Jamaica, just the lifestyle of people. I'm talking about different social issues having to do with our sense of belonging in terms of class structure. So the piece that's behind me is referencing John Kuno, and just thinking about the whole idea of how or what John Kuno was about at the time, and then kind of incorporating it into a modern space now. So I'm taking, for instance, the setting of women who are getting their hair done on the streets of Kingston and kind of juxtaposing it with the history of John Kuno and what it is that was involved in the idea of John Kuno, where, you know, when the enslaved Africans got some free time during the Christmas season, they would dress like their owners, their slave owners at the time. So it's about mimicking, it's about imitating and taking different things from different cultures and trying to juxtapose and incorporate it into the culture of Jamaica now. How do we see ourselves again? You know, this whole idea of taking on a different facade and changing how we look and using things that we can all relate to. For instance, hair. Hair is a very political thing. It can mean different things for different reasons and for different cultures. So in these pieces, or in some of the pieces where I'm using the hair to critique society. Again, to talk about the division in terms of class, how we change ourselves just to feel like we belong in a particular space. I was trying to make a connection to that European space and trying to link it to the stories that we have been told about our history, our background, the influence of Europe on the culture of Jamaica, how it aids in forming our identity as well, and trying to figure out where I belong in that conversation. So I use persons from Caucasian background, Chinese background, just to add to the conversation. Process of creating any one of these pieces, they tend to start in different ways. But for the most part, what I will do, if I get an idea, then I make a sketch of it. Now, the sketch can be very small, it can be a large sketch. Just trying to map out, you know, the composition, different technical aspects of the drawing. So before I paint, normally I draw first. And then this drawing is transferred on the canvas, or sometimes I draw directly on the canvas, right? So you have techniques that we call direct or indirect. That's one way of beginning the pieces. Sometimes I just go straight ahead and just create a piece. So sometimes I'm working intuitively. Sometimes I sit down and I try to map out everything before I start. If I'm really excited about an idea, then of course I'm going to complete it faster. Again, it depends on the technicality of the painting. So the piece behind me, it has a lot of figures in there. I'm thinking about the proportion of each figure. I'm thinking about the composition. I'm thinking about a lot of things when I'm working on a piece like this. So, of course, it tends to take more time. So I started this piece in 2014, and I completed it in 2016, with some break in between, of course. Again, I could start a piece today and then complete it by the end of the week. Getting the resources to create the pieces, you're talking about transporting the pieces, exposure as well, right? So I'm very grateful for this medium. There are other challenges that will come about, but they are not as, should I say, they're not as important. Teaching for me is a very important way. Well, not just an important way, but it's a tool that I can use to impart information and the knowledge that I'm gaining. I'm trying to, of course, develop the arts as well. But it's also very important as well because that's what keeps me going in terms of financial-wise, because the reality is that I don't know of any artist who can just survive off their art in Jamaica. And we have the same issues in countries abroad too. And I just want to make more art. I want to get some exposure in some museums, some art museums. Just continue what it is that I'm doing here and growing and being able to share it.
And that's it this week for Cameo. Even in the midst of our challenges, our creative industries continue to shine. I've been your host, Amita Pasad Webb.